at least one, maybe even multiple changes coming within the Vikings coaching staff, at least at the coordinator level anyway. We'll start with the special teams first. I knew that the Vikings special teams unit was bad, but then when you look at the numbers, you realize just how bad it was. League-wide, the Minnesota Vikings had the second fewest field goals made, lowest field goal percentage, fourth worst extra point percentage. In the punt return game, they put the ball on the ground 4 times. That's tied for second most in the NFL. Third worst punt return yards against. Second worst punt return yards for. The Minnesota Vikings special teams unit was a disaster. KJ Osborne coming out of Miami. The U, stand up. I'm not even from Miami. I just think this is pretty cool to do. He was a non-factor in the return game. Dan Bailey, I mean, my gut tells me that the Vikings are going to stick with him. I don't know what you do. Maybe this was just a down year. What a disastrous season for Dan Bailey. Or maybe they even draft some competition in this upcoming draft for place kicker. There was no one good thing you could say about the Vikings special teams unit. So as a result, the Vikings, they fired Marwan Malouf, special teams coordinator. So the Vikings, it's going to be interesting to see how they address this because they need to do a complete overhaul with their special teams at place kicker, punt returner, kick returner, and special teams coordinator. We get to the offensive coordinator, Gary Kubiak. Reportedly, he is mulling retirement, and he's been dealing with health issues even going back to his head coaching days with the Denver Broncos. So maybe he's over it, but if he does end up retiring, that would leave Mike Zimmer looking for his 6th offensive coordinator going into year 8. And I can see the Vikings entertaining options from the outside. Anthony Lynn being one of them. Maybe even Marvin Lewis, for God's sakes. But I think for the sake of hashtag continuity, I think it makes the most sense. You don't want to have players learn a whole new playbook, a whole new system. I think it makes the most sense for the Vikings to simply promote quarterback coach Clint Kubiak. He understands the system. He knows the playbook. The only thing I would change, however, is just be a little bit more aggressive in your play calling, situationally speaking. So, for instance, 2nd and short, 2nd and long, what are the Vikings going to do? We know what they're going to do. Run, run, pass. Defense, defense, defense. Run, run, pass. Defense, defense, defense. Just get more aggressive in your play calling is all I'm saying. But this is why I think it's incredibly hard to have sustained success as a defensive-minded head coach beyond Mike Zimmer. And this is just my own opinion. I don't know shit about shit. But, okay, if you're the offense, you're dictating the reaction of the defense. I think it's much easier to replace, if you have to replace a coordinator every single year, I think it's easier if you have to replace a defensive coordinator every year versus an offensive coordinator, because on defense, you're reacting to the offense. On offense, you don't know how the play is going to turn out, but you're dictating the reaction of the defense. If you have to learn a whole new offense every year or every other year, the learning curve for your team to be successful on offense is going to hinder the performance of your team. I just think it's incredibly hard. So when I talked about, head coaching replacements for Mike Zimmer, I'm done talking about Mike Zimmer. I've said all I've had to say about him for this offseason. I'm done. I'm over it. I'm off it. But I've seen it come up. Hey, what about Robert Saleh? I respect Robert Saleh. He brings energy. He brings force. He brings dynamicness. What he was able to do with that defense with injuries to have the 5th best defense in the NFL is incredible. But I'm just more geared toward the offensive-minded head coach. I think a team is going to be more successful long-term in today's league with an offensive-minded head coach. Because guess what's going to happen next year, 2021? If Clint Kubiak and he takes off and the offense is just gelling, we have a top 5 offense in the NFL, the Minnesota Vikings. Oh, my God, it's great. Guess who's going to get head coaching calls? Clint Kubiak, and we're going to have to go through this all over again. That's just my 2 cents. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. We do this 3 times a week. Mediocre at Best Sports Podcast with Realistic Randy. Check me out on Twitter. Check me out. What was that? Check me out. Check me out on Twitter at realistic_Randy. Facebook at Realistic Randy. Next podcast is tomorrow. We'll see you then. Check me out.